Hello, welcome viewers. Today we're going to continue from where we stopped on this structure. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to apply my loads. I start with the self weight of the structure. Let me type a self weight in my load case as load case 1. So I'm going to type self weight, dead load. So I say add, so I've added self weight. So let me assign it. I'm going to do assignment. Of the self weight to the entire structure. So I will assign. Okay, so having assigned, the next load case I'm going to take is the load case for asphalt. Naturally is expected to be applied on the carriageway. So we know that my carriageway in this case, I'm using 8 meters carriageway with 1.5 on both sides for walkway. So my carriageway is 8 meters. So I'm going to apply either plate load or area load on this surface. So let me call it superimpose dead load. Type it, okay? Superimpose dead load. All right. So once we are done with this, just okay, and I'm going to assign it to my plate. All right. So I'm going to assign it to my plate. Okay. All right, so I'm going to define my deck plate. So I'll align to the deck. So by defining the deck plate, I'm instructing start to identify the plates as a deck. So I'm going to define my roadway. I'm going to define my carriageway. So first of all, highlighting the plates. So I'm going to go to All right, so we're going to look at the various, let's take a look at the various codes. We can check that on loadings. If you go to loadings, you can see BS 5400 nominal HB load. We have it there. So we can as well check at the axle number, how many axle are involved. We can check it out, okay? So we have other codes that can be used. The India Road Congress, we have the various code from different countries which can be used depending on the country and your country code. Okay, so let's define the carriageway now. We go straight to deck. Now we have a walkway of 1.5 meters. So you can see the yellow line. I'm going to type in my 1.5 meter from the origin of my deck. So my origin is at the 00 point. So I'm going to type 1.5 meter in the Z direction. Okay. So I'll have a 1.5. That will give me my first pedestrian walkway. So I'm going to create that. All right. So I haven't done that. You can see the pedestrian walkway has been created. So I'm going to add additional 9.5 to make up the next coordinate. So everything will end up as 11 meters, which is the width of my deck. All right, so by so doing, I've been able to define my carriageway of 8 meters. So we'll do that, and I'm going to okay it. Okay, so we have everything in meters. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so now we've created our carriageway of 8 meters with pedestrian walkway. This is the center, so we have pedestrian walkway of 1.5. So I apply it, and I will okay. So you can see that we've gotten our walkway carriageway seed 1W. So it's have been created. The informations are here, so you can see the informations at this dialog box. So we are going to say okay. All right, so now that we have created the carriageway, you can see from my windows If you look closely, you see that you have a blue line, longitudinal blue lines. So that is a demarcation of the carriageway. So now we'll go straight to load. If you come to load, you can see different codes for each country. So we're going to apply accordingly. So you can create a new load case if your load is not in this place. You can click the new icon and create the number of axle, and as well create a new load if the need be. Okay. All right. So now I will click my BS 500 nominal HB load. That is the load I'm going to use in this example. All right. So I'll click OK. So I haven't done that. All right. So I will generate influence surface for this particular deck. So I'm going to run that by going to load and click generate influence surface. We can see that it's already generating influence. It's influence surface, so it's already generating it. All right. So once the influence surface are generated for the plate, we can begin to obtain various effects. Talking about the responses in terms of bending moment, shear force at various points along the beam. We can as well obtain the deflection of the beams. So the first step is to generate this influence surface. Once that is done, we can proceed to responses. Okay. All right. So why our system process the influence surface for this particular bridge? We know that after this, we are going to get the responses. Okay. All right. So I'm going to click our load generator. So you can see the dialog box from load generator. So we can take responses from different points. So we can pick it from different points. For my support reaction, I intend to obtain this support. Let me start with the support on my right hand side. Let's look at the node number. So I'm going to pick the node number for this particular support. So I'm going to input it on my load generator. Similarly, I'm going to also obtain the node number for the point I intend to obtain deflection, as well as the plate I intend to obtain moment. So I'm going to look for a particular plate, most likely the plate between my beams, so that I can obtain the local moment for the design. So if I can obtain the local moment for the design, I will also select a suitable beam along my beam, where I can obtain also the maximum moment for that beam. So I need to have a beam along the span, most likely close to the mid span, where I can obtain the maximum moment for that particular beam. So I'm going to take note of whichever beam I'm choosing. I'm going to take note of the beam number, So I'm going to take note of that. The plate I'm going to choose also, I'm going to take note of the plate number, because I'm going to feed that to my load generate generation dialog box. All right, so we can look at the plate number. We go back to our structure. So we've selected a plate for ourselves. We're going to select a beam, like I said. We'll pick a beam. We'll pick a uh, the support reactions node number. All right, so you can see the beam I'm choosing, beam 1010. So I want to make use of this beam 1010. So I'm going to look for the effect from both the start node A and the end node B. So I'm going to take note of that. So take note of the beam number I've chosen. So I'm going to input that in my load generator as well. Okay. So let's go and All right, so now I'm going to select my code, my BS5400 nominal load, HB load. All right, so I'm going to select that and I'll OK. Then I'll go to, you have ultimate load here and service load, but I'm going to make use of service load in this case. Okay, so I can begin to obtain the load responses. Let me start with my nodal displacement load. So if I want to check deflection for any node or beam, I can select a node like this. Once I can select the node, just to get the node number, I'll go back to my uh, load response dialog box. Okay, so from there I can input the node number, and I'm going to also indicate the direction of the effect, whether positive or negative effect you intend to obtain. You are going to obtain it. Now, by choosing a node, what you are doing is you are creating an influence surface for the load generation, just like you do to an influence line. So I'll go to my node, type in my node number, uh, then I'll look for the displacement in the y direction, and I'll look for positive displacement. Okay, so once I do, I think once I've done that, I've gotten that of the node, so I can go and check for reactions, or I can check for beams. You can see them. Let me go to beams. So I'll pick my beam. I would like to work with beam 1010, which I've selected before. So I'll look for uh, the effect also, which is in the y direction, and I'll also look for positive effect. So that's in beam 1010. I'll still like to look at both ends of the beam. I'll type in beam 1010 again and put in the same value. This time go for the other side. Okay, now what we are doing by choosing these values, what we are saying to Staadpro is to generate the maximum response for this particular beam or plate or node in question. And Staadpro will do that by positioning your HP and HA load in such a way that it will produce the maximum effect for this beam. All right, so once the vehicles have been positioned in the right way, you can generate that load or export that load to STAAD model, and you can do several load combination from that load that is generated from this effect, uh, like I'm doing now. So we input these values so that I can OK it, then start with generate the loads, the various position of the vehicle to produce maximum effect for this beam, for the node, for the plate, and so on, for the reaction, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we go over to this. So I'm going to choose that of plate number. I'm going to choose plate number 724. That is what I'm going to use. So I'm going to look for the moment in the MX direction and the moment in the MY direction, as well as the top stress, the stress in the top, which represent our top reinforcement. Okay, so we're going to obtain all this. So once we are done with this, we can now OK and proceed into obtaining, generating this load and exporting them to STAAD model. Okay. All right. So now that we are through with all this, we are going to go back to our load. We'll okay and go back to our load and generate load. All right, so once we click our generate load, you will see it running, trying to generate the load. It's going to display a text, a note text. You can, in that note text, you will see, all right, our note text is out. You can see the positions of our various load, the number of national lanes, the forces, and every information as regards to the load. You can see our uh, HB load is nominal HB. So we can see every information as regards to the loadings. So once we OK this, it will be exported to our Staadpro model where we can make adequate load combination. All right. So let's just take a glimpse or a look at the various load. We can see that the influence surfaces are generated for each of these loadings, which we can use which the system has used to calculate the load position for maximum effect. Okay. All right. So having looked at this load, we are going to go straight to exporting it into Staadpro model. All right. All right, so once we exit the page and export to Staadpro model, we can see the lane lines on the deck plate with blue indication. So it shows that the model has been exported to Staadpro. I mean, the load has been exported to Staadpro. All right, so we can go back and look at our, you can see the load uh, generation complete. So once you complete it, export it, you've already exported it. So what we just need to do is to go to our Staadpro model to look at this load. So, all right, so this brings us to an end of this lecture. If you find the video very helpful, please do it to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification button for more videos. I remain your host, Engineer Baga. I'll see you in our next class. Have a wonderful day.